K. Long's birthday. So I figured I would tie in a little bit of the discussion about the history of the school. He was a prolific writer. He did a lot of self-publishing, which actually would help out the AP guys, DBQ questions. Yeah, it's a DBQ kind of thing. Document-based question for those of you. You can go back to his letters and see some of the things that he wrote. And what I picked up, Ms. Counterman was gracious enough to loan me his 40 letters to Carson Long. And in it, there's one where he talks about the history of the school. We trace our roots all the way back to Bloomfield Academy, founded by Robert Finley it was chartered in 1836, first classes in 1837. But our key history and where we are today actually goes back to 1914. And the events that triggered that in 1914 actually occurred March 5th, 1912, with the death of William Carson Long. Theodore K. Long was distraught. He's from Millerstown. You guys that were talking about Greenwood and track. You follow the road up from past Greenwood High School, you'll go to the Long homestead further down, it's I think 5 or 6 miles further up the road from Greenwood High School, and you will see the Long homestead. He was back looking for a memorial for his son. He wanted a library, and he was going to put it in Millerstown. Things didn't work out. He couldn't find the land he wanted for the price he wanted and things like that. And he decided to pay a visit to his alma mater. He was a graduate of Bloomfield Academy. And he come back and the school was not doing well. And he made a decision then. And in January of 1914, he was able to acquire the school. And the first thing he did was rename the school after his son, Carson Long. Then he goes through and he decided to make it an all-boys school with military character. And it follows through. It became his focus. And I want to share with you a paragraph that he wrote. He wrote this in 1931. He was still writing letters to his son in 1931, describing things that he did. And this kind of embodies and instills a lot of our values, and it shows you where they came from. The work of developing Carson Long Institute to the point of its present splendid achievement has not only supplied me with an occupation, but has afforded me the busiest years of my life. And this work has made large demands on my time, as well as my private fortune. While this work is made, I have never before engaged in any business or calling that has yielded such a large return in satisfaction and pleasure. Indeed, I never learned to live until I learned the greatest pleasure in the world comes from doing for others. The man whose life is keyed to money-making derives a certain kind of negative pleasure from the success that comes from the effective management of his business or profession. But the pleasure so experienced is infinitesimal as compared with the thrill and pleasures that are the immediate result of paving the way for boys to become useful and successful men. Hardly a week passes that I do not receive evidence of some man in the making who has gone forth from Carson Long Institute and is hewing his way to success among his fellows. You get an idea of where our values, we use the Army values, those values I am almost positive Colonel Long would have embraced and loved. We established a direct connection with our past, going back over 100 years, and trace that lineage back even further. If you get a chance, I highly recommend that you look through and see these sources. read Colonel Long's works. They are, the man was I can't say enough about him. I have some of his works in my office. He was a poet. He would be what the term Renaissance man goes back many, many years. He would be a Renaissance man and someone that you could look to as a pattern to follow for your life.